I hope you're ready to get spooky because I am, and I have something that I think is pretty cool. I've also been working on it for a while. So, are we ready? So I basically had an upbringing where I read a lot of books. And if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, one of your biggest childhood moments is reading Choose Your Own Adventure books. Of course, this has always fascinated me. And I recently had the idea, what would happen if I wrote the book? But if I had AI respond to the book I was writing. So it's turning into be a really interesting adventure. So we're going to find out what happens. This is Rosethorn Manor, episode 1. Cue the spooky atmospheric music. As your car pulls slowly up to the gravel driveway, you double check the house numbers. You know, GPS can sometimes take a wrong turn, and this building looks way more massive and ominous than the advertisement. Despite its looming appearance, you somehow feel welcomed. After graduating university with a history major and theater major, this opportunity could not have presented itself at a better time. A refurbished Victorian mansion in need of new blood, hopefully not literally, to be revived as the next best vacation destination in the area. Its questionable past was a huge bonus since they were looking for tour guides to draw in the younger crowds with late night tour featuring the macabre and the paranormal. As the gate guard buzzes you through, you take in the expansive garden right at the edge of the family mausoleum and a decently sized koi pond. Its somewhat unruly vines and rose bushes are what you are assuming gives the location its name. You sense an eerie feeling by the pond as it now looks somewhat deeper than you originally thought it was, and the cemetery makes you feel like you're being watched. You secretly enjoy this atmosphere, but are also mildly relieved to see that there's other cars in the parking lot. You exit your vehicle and stare up at the massive building all the way to the 4th floor, where the attic curtains rustle lightly from what you believe to be the air vents. Now, how do you feel when you approach? Do you go directly to the house because you're always a little early, or do you wander the grounds to get your bearings? I close the car door with a soft thunk, slinging my bag over one shoulder as I glance up towards the flickering curtains in the attic. My heart skips. Not with fear exactly, but with anticipation. The whole estate smells like damp earth, old roses, and secrets waiting to exhale. I'm early and curious. So rather than head straight in, I drift towards the garden, drawn by the koi pond first. The air is heavier there, the silence thicker. I pause at the edge, watching the dark water ripple as if something just ducked beneath the surface. I count only 2 koi. Weren't there supposed to be more? Then I make my way slowly towards the mausoleum. Not to go inside, not yet. Just enough to read the name above the archway and study the aging stones around it. Some of the tombs lean. They're overrun by moss. I notice one rose bush that's pruned recently with unnatural precision. I whisper to no one in particular, "Charming place you got here." Then I turn towards the house, finally ready to do or meet whatever or whoever awaits inside. As you begin to turn and step away from the shockingly pristine stone mausoleum, you hear a soft rustle on the walkway, followed by approaching footsteps that are attached to a charming smile with a delightful voice. I see you've met Daniel and Marabella. She gestures to the cemetery. A young woman with dark hair and bright eyes holds out her hands to you. She looks to be early 30s, but as you catch a glimmer of wisdom in her eyes, something tells you that appearances can be deceiving. My name's Julie. I'm currently running this shindig, just trying to get our feet back on the ground and open up this spectacular location to the general public. I think we have a lot to offer here, for guests and staff alike, if I'm being honest. Her enthusiasm is infectious, and you shake your hand and you believe it too. Your luggage looks a bit heavy. I can have Arthur grab that for you and take it up to your room. A somewhat older man with brown but graying hair briskly approaches to gather your belongings. Since you'll be staying on the premises, you'll have enough luggage that he needs a carriage. We've hired a few outstanding individuals for this project, so I look forward to getting to know you. She pauses for you to introduce yourself. Do you prefer to go straight to your room and get settled in, or do you ask Julie to show you the grounds first with a brief history of the garden? So we chose. I take Julie's hand, firm but warm, and flash a crooked smile. I'm Liam. I'll be your friendly neighborhood history nerd / ghoul hunter. Arthur nods politely as he takes my bag, and I give him a grateful nod in return, but my attention lingers on the path I just came from. I'd love to see my room, truly, but I glance towards the rose-choked archways and shifting pond. I think a garden tour might be more my pace. First impressions, you know. The bones of a place usually show in the soil. Gesture towards the cemetery and pond. Oops, hang on. Nope, I was right. I gestured towards the cemetery and the pond. You called them Daniel and Marabella. I take it they were former residents. I've fallen a step behind her, eager to hear whatever version of history she's willing to tell, and curious how it lines up with what the house might whisper later. End of episode 1. Now, before I start writing episode 2, we got a few things we got to do. We're going to see what we're going to give Liam in his adventure into Rosethorn Manor. So first, what's the weather going to be like? The weather is going to be overcast. That is perfect. Let's see how many bodies are buried in the cemetery. 20. 20 bodies buried in the cemetery. So we're going to find out right now using my cards, because why not? We're going to give Daniel and Marabella a little personality. Marabella is represented by the World card. She wears a bright dress and she's got curly brown hair. Daniel, however, short blonde hair, has a dog, a little bit nostalgic. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get them into. Because, you know, haunted locations, tragedies befall all of the residents. Judgment. That's their tragedy right there. I'm going to do some thinking on that to figure it out. But we're also going to give Mr. Liam here a little challenge of his own. That's the 6 of Swords. So I guess he's going to face a decision. That's going to be a fun one. So, that being said, I will see you in episode 2. Now, I know some of you guys watch hours and hours of gaming videos online, so you can sit through 10 minutes of this.